So you probably stumbled upon this video because you want to learn how to start an Airbnb business. Where do you start? How do I begin? How do I get my first property? Where do I look? How do I furnish it? I'm here to answer all those questions for you today. Today, I'm going to be giving you a dummies guide on how to start your Airbnb business from scratch. And by the end of this video, I promise you won't have to watch another damn video on this topic ever again. Now, you're probably wondering, who's this guy teaching me about Airbnb and what does he really know? Well, my name is Blake Rocha. I go by Mr. 4to8 online. And in the last couple of years, I've built and scaled my Airbnb business portfolio to $17 million, and it does a little over $2 million a year in revenue. Plus, I've coached over 2,500 students on helping them get their first Airbnbs. Let's start by breaking down what it means to build an Airbnb or short-term rental business as a beginner. It's important to understand right off the bat that this is not a real estate game that you're getting into. This is a hospitality business. Now, the asset that you're going to be buying or acquiring is going to be a piece of real estate. But what we do with that piece of real estate is unlike any other business model. Typically, when you buy a property and use it as a long-term rental, it's supposed to be somewhat of a semi-passive type of income. And in this business model, especially early on, this is not passive at all. I want to warn you right up front that this is a business and it is simple, but it is not easy. Let me repeat that. This business model is simple because the steps that I'm going to give you are easy to follow, but that does not mean that it is easy. It takes work, it takes commitment, it takes a few long hours, and in my opinion, it takes 1 to 2 years of really going hard at this so that you can get to a point where your business is fully automated. Now, I want you to ask yourself, why do you want to get into Airbnb rentals anyways? Is it the money? Is it the time freedom? Is it the location freedom? Do you want to work from anywhere in the world? Depending on what your answer was, let me tell you what the true answer is after somebody that's been in this business and has done millions of dollars in revenue and profit. The true answer is you want to be in this business for freedom. The money is great. And the money allows you to buy back your time and buy back your freedom. Within your first couple of properties, you should be able to replace your current 9-to-5 income if you're currently working a job. That's step number one, and that's what the main focus should be of building your Airbnb business, early at least. Replace that 9-to-5 income so that you can buy back your time, and then we focus on growing and scaling at a rapid rate. There's a mindset piece of Airbnb investing that many folks miss out on, okay? You have to think about all of these things before you go all in because it's not just about finding a property, purchasing, setting it up on Airbnb, and letting it run. This is a business. As I said, this is a hospitality business. And so over the next couple of months, over the next year or so, what are you willing to give up? Ask yourself seriously, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to give up the Netflix every single night for 3 or 4 hours? Are you willing to give up the pointless spending at bars and clubs? That is what it's going to take when you're starting a business early on. So now that we've got some of the mindset stuff and laid out some of the ground rules for Airbnb investing, in today's video, as you can see in the title, we're going in depth into how to buy your first Airbnb and more importantly, how to scale that business out. There's also other ways that you can make money with Airbnb that I'll have links to the other videos in. You can do co-hosting and you can do Airbnb arbitrage. But again, today we're going to focus on simply how to buy your first Airbnb property and scale that out. All right, so you've made it this far. Step one, you know the time commitment it's going to take, the money commitment that it's going to take, and you're ready to embark on your journey. Now, where do we go? First things first, we need to address the biggest question that everybody always has for me, which is, how do I choose a market to invest in? It's a very simple concept that I like to use, okay? One thing that's important to understand, especially as you're getting started, is you can invest in your backyard. Now, I don't mean exactly, it's not always going to work out in the city that you live in. You may live in the middle of nowhere. But many times after coaching thousands of students, I've found that there is a great location to set up an Airbnb business within 1.5 to 2 hours of them. Now, one of the reasons why I recommend starting within 1.5 to 2 hours of you or in your backyard is because you're going to be able to handle some of the problems as they arise just in case you don't have a team on the ground or don't have the systems in place to be able to handle some of these problems that come up. For example, when I got my first Airbnb property, I decided to go out of state. I was living in California. I bought the property in Florida, and there early on, I did not know what I didn't know. Yes, I had mentors, and yes, I had people coaching me and guiding me on what to do. I'd done all the research, but there's no amount of research that can have you prepared for when the pool pump goes out, or when you have a creepy guy that is standing over the fence and they're, looking at kids swimming. I mean, literally weird things are happening at this Airbnb, and I'm like, What do I do? So it would have been much better if I was closer. It's not the end of the world. And in fact, I actually highly do encourage, if you have the guts and you have the ability to, investing out of state is another great option. But for your first property, if there's a great place to invest within 1.5 to 2 hours of you, and I'm gonna explain to you how you can find that, then that is the place to start. So how do I determine if a city is gonna be good on Airbnb or bad on Airbnb? Currently, I use Airdna.co. So the website is airdna.co. As of now, it's the best software that is out there. I'm currently building a competitor, so I'll plug the competitor when it is done, which is gonna be mine. But currently, Airdna is the best software for doing market research and finding out if a city is going to perform well on Airbnb, what its growth patterns are, if it's been declining, how much money you can expect to make, all of that good stuff. Now, I'm in the process of building a competitor, so shh, we'll keep it on the down low. But until then, airdna.co will work. Now, when you go to Airdna, simply search the cities that are within the 1.5 to 2 hour radius of you, or whatever city that you would ideally like to invest in. Maybe your mom or your dad or your cousin or your uncle lives in a different city in Minnesota or Wisconsin or wherever it may be. If you want to do the research, simply search the city and it's going to pop up just like this. Let's just say that I lived in Wisconsin and I'm considering investing in Milwaukee, but I don't know how good of a market Milwaukee is. I know it's cold there half the year. I know that I don't want to be there half the year, but is there a reason why people are there? Maybe, is there big hospitals? Is there a military? Is there sports teams perhaps? So in order to do that research, I'm going to search Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the top left corner in the search bar. And what's going to pop up, as you see, is going to be an average occupancy, an average daily rate, and it's also going to tell us how many active rentals there are in the city. Now, just for a rule of thumb, as you're doing your market research, what I tell all of my students is we ideally want to have a city that has a minimum of 70% occupancy and a minimum of $150 average daily rate, because anything less than that is like hotel rates, motel rates. And we also want to see at least 250 active listings on Airbnb. If it checks all of these boxes, or it's very close, let's say 67, 68% occupancy, then chances are this is a very good city to begin investing in with Airbnb. Again, I want to drive home the point that you do not need to invest in the Miamis, Los Angeles, Houston, Austin, New York City, Chicago, these places that you'd imagine, oh, that's where Airbnb is popular. Yes, it's popular there, but there's also a lot of restrictions that you have to work around. There's a lot of competition, and there's really a ton of money to be made in these cities that people sleep on. The way that I like to classify them is this: are they a growing city? Yes. Do they have a growing economy? Yes. Is the downtown getting bigger? Is the city expanding? Are there more restaurants? Are there more stores? Is there more shopping? If you answer yes to all of that, then yes, this is probably a good place to begin investing in Airbnb. If you're in and around a national park or national forest, yes, that is a great place to begin investing in Airbnbs, because you can't do it in the national forest and there's people traveling there for any sorts of reasons. Also, if you're near amusement parks, a Disneyland, a water park, and a Knott's Berry Farm, you name it, then many times, as long as it's a travel destination for people, this is a great place to start with Airbnb. Also, another thing to consider is hospitals. Is there big hospitals? Is there schools? Is there colleges? Is there huge high schools? Any reason why people would need to be traveling for either work, pleasure, or play, this would be a good reason to begin looking, or at least considering, the city as a good investment for Airbnb. So I'll tell you from personal experience, my investing strategy is choosing 1 to 2 markets when you're first starting out and scaling out there. Okay, now I may be jumping ahead a little bit, but this is very important to understand. People begin buying or arbitraging properties on Airbnb all over the US. So now let's just say, for example, I have 10 properties and I have 1 or 2 in every other state. I personally like to use the strategy of choosing 1 to 2 cities that I know are rock stars on Airbnb and build out everything there. What does that look like? That means my cleaners, my handymen, my pool cleaners, anybody that I have on my team, my realtors, anything like that, they are all in a central location, they all are able to communicate, and they all know that we work together, and it's much easier to communicate with less people and less properties than more people and more properties. So now that you've located the city that you want to invest in, it's time to start looking for properties. The way that I look for properties is on Zillow and Realtor.com. The other way that I look for properties is I find real estate agents online, so I Google them, I'll call 4 or 5 of them, I'll see who is the most fit and most equipped to find short-term rental properties that could be good, potentially good if they understand the game, and then I'm going to give them a criteria of exactly what I'm looking for. Let me give you an example. Bring. Hello, my name is Blake Rocha. I am an out-of-state short-term rental investor. I'm looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom properties, whether they're on market or off market, and I'm happy to pay you a finder's fee, and I'd love to work with you, and I'm going to acquire more and more units. Boom. That's simple, and just kind of fill them out. See if they're a good fit for you. See if you guys could work together good. Have them start firing you off properties right away. The good thing is when you give somebody a task like this, it's a little bit easier of a load for you, and they may be able to find properties that are off market that you wouldn't have been able to find otherwise because of the network that they've built. So let's just say that I found a property on Zillow in St. Louis, Missouri. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to go back to Airdna.co, and I'm going to use their rentalizer tool. It's on the left-hand side. It's for free to use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the address. I'm going to paste it in on Airdna's rentalizer tool. I'm going to click Analyze, and then it's going to pop up some general projections as to how much this property is going to make on Airbnb or on any short-term rental website. It will give you an average daily rate, it's going to give you an average occupancy, and based on that number, an average gross revenue that you could expect at the end of the year. Now, where do they get that number from? They get that number from scraping data from all other properties that are the same type of house, that are in the same zip code, whether it's a house or apartment, condo, tree house. It can kind of recognize it. One of the fears that most people have is that data is not accurate, and in many cases I found it to be very, very accurate actually. Now, I've built out a calculator tool that myself and all of my students use that helps me identify all of the upfront costs as well as the Airdna numbers. So at this point I have my revenue number and I have the price of the property that's for sale. I'm gonna plug that into my proprietary calculator. It's an Airbnb profitability calculator, and that is going to help me calculate whether or not this property is going to be worth investing in or not. Now, if you want access to that calculator and want to learn how to use it, I host a free workshop every single Thursday. Again, free 99. Click the link in the description below to register and grab your spot. I'll see you guys there. It takes about an hour, and I'll go over in depth how we can use that. Otherwise, let's jump into the next step. So where are we at right now? So far, you have found the market that you want to invest in. You've done the market research and found a property that you like. You've calculated out the revenue projections and found out that this is going to be a winner. Now it's time to purchase the property. So if you've never purchased a property, listen up, turn up the volume, grab your pen and paper. This is a very, very important section for you. We're going to go over the pre-approval process and financing options. But first, these are the 15 steps to buying a home. Step number 1, and I know it sounds easy, but make sure you're ready. So many people think that they want to buy a house, and of course, everybody wants to buy houses, but do you have the time? Do you have the energy? Do you have the money? And that leads me to the second step. Step number 2 is get your finances in order. Make sure that everything is lined up, know what kind of money you have coming in, coming out, and available to purchase a property. Number 3 is make a game plan for the down payment. So, are you going to be putting 20% down? Are you going to be putting 10% down? Are you going to use an FHA loan, which we'll go over in a minute, to put 3.5% down? Whatever it is, make sure that you have a game plan ready so you know what kind of money you're going to be giving up on this property. Number 4 is create a wish list. What do you want? What does this house look like for you? Is it going to be something you're putting time into, putting money into, or is it something that's turnkey? Are you wanting to put down just a little bit of money, or are you willing to put down a lot of money? Are you paying all cash? Right? These are things you have to think about and create a wish list for so that you can manifest this to actually happen. Number 5 is find the right mortgage for you. There's tons of different lenders out there and even more options on loans that you can get. So make sure that you do some research and find the right mortgage for yourself. Number 6, get pre-approved for your mortgage. Number 7, find a real estate agent. This is super, super important. You find a good real estate agent. Don't be afraid to talk to 2 to 3 of them at a time and figure out who is the best so that you can work with them, because they, especially if you're investing out of city or out of state, they're going to be your eyes and ears and really have an understanding of the area that you're investing in. Number 8, go shopping. And number 9, make an offer. It's time to make an offer. If you've ever written up an offer, I promise you that this is going to be the scariest thing that you've done in your life. I've jumped out of planes. I've done some like insane heli skiing trips and a lot of just crazy shit. And I will tell you that there is no fear like the first offer that you write up. In fact, I still get afraid when I write up offers sometimes, because there's 2 expenses in your life that are a lot bigger than the others. When you buy a car and when you buy a home or buy an investment property. So it's important that you are understanding that yes, it's okay to feel scared. Yes, it's okay to feel nervous, but you want to have done the most amount of research and really came up with a really solid game plan and had the right mentors coaching you so that you can feel safe and comfortable when it's time to write up an offer and buy a property. Number 10 is get a mortgage. Now, there's a lot of different mortgages that you can get. balloon payments, and I've heard some crazy options recently just based on the market that we're in. I have always tried to go the 30-year fixed rate mortgage route. You're gonna pay a little bit more in interest rates, but if you were to get like a 5-year or a 3-year or a 7-year balloon and the interest rates are way higher in the next couple of years, then you're gonna be stuck having to refinance when that term is up or pay off that balloon payment, and you will not be happy. So for myself and my students, I always encourage a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Number 11, get homeowners insurance. Number 12, set up a home inspection tour. Now, I'm just gonna let you know right now that home inspection tours are always going to come back uglier than you'd imagine. They're gonna find shit that you'd never seen before, rats and stuff in the ceilings, and you won't believe this concrete and the foundation, and you know, you really just have to take it with a grain of salt. Yes, every house, if you pull up the curtain and look under the blanket, there is going to be issues with it. Now, they're not always going to be as big as they seem, so it's really important that you have somebody who knows what they're doing take a look at the home inspection report and let you know what the mandatory things are that you need to fix. And in a second, I'll tell you a couple ways that we can get back some money at this point once we're under contract. Number 13, you're gonna have the home appraised. So you're gonna get your appraiser to go out there. The appraisal report will come back, and that's going to tell you how much the property is worth. If it's worth less than what you bought it for, then you're going to have to split the difference and come up, which we do not like to do. Ideally, the home is worth the same amount or more than you purchased it for. Number 14, this is when you're going to negotiate any repairs and get back some credits with the seller. So what does that mean? That means you can, while you're under contract, go back to the seller and say, hey, look, I didn't think that this was represented correctly. We didn't know about this crack. We didn't know about this problem over here. I want you to either give me credits at closing or reduce the price, somewhere in the middle, meet somewhere in the middle, right? And this is a lot of times where I've gotten much, much better deals. You can tell them, hey, this wasn't right. And in most cases, I've done that, gone back to the seller, or when I've sold houses, had it happen to me as well. And you kind of just have to meet in the middle, or they're gonna give you that credit many times because you're so deep along in the process and there's always a little bit of wiggle room. And number 15, close on your home. Congratulations, you've closed on your home. Now, one of the things I wanna circle back to is the loan products that are out there. As a short-term rental investor, you're gonna have really, in my opinion, two main options. And there's a lot of other loan options out there. And so if you're a lender, please in the comments, leave some different options for our listeners. Typically what I've used is conventional loans, and I've used DSCR loans. Okay, so a conventional loan is very simple. Just think about the loan that you would get from your bank or your private lender. A DSCR loan, or a debt service coverage ratio loan, is much different than this. With this kind of loan, you don't have to show personal income. Many times what the lender is going to do is they're going to competitor match, or they're going to look at other Airbnbs in the area, run the comps, and based off of how much that property is generating, give you a loan for the property that you're investing in because it's an investment loan. The downside to a DSCR loan is because it's a little bit more hands-off and touch-free and easier to do, it's going to cost you. Okay, so if your average interest rate's at 7.5%, then many times your interest rate on a DSCR loan is going to be closer to 9.5%, right? Usually 1.5% to 2% more based on my experience with properties that I've purchased. Guys, I'm going to give you a major cheat code that not enough people use, and I honestly think that it is one of the best ways to build wealth with just a little bit of money and when you're buying an Airbnb. This is called the FHA loan house hack. Okay, so in the United States of America, we have a loan for first-time buyers called an FHA loan, which allows you to put 3.5% down on a property. So for example, if you were buying a $100,000 home, for easy math, you'd only have to put down $3,500. This is a fantastic incentive for you to go buy a property because, as we know, property prices have continued to rise over the years and it's becoming more and more difficult to buy a property. So how does this work with Airbnb? Because one of the caveats for this loan is you're supposed to live in the property for at least 1 year. What you do is you're gonna go find a duplex or a triplex for sale in a city that is a little bit more affordable that would also work with Airbnb. Let's say, for the sake of example, that you find a $500,000 duplex in El Paso, Texas. What you're gonna do is put 3.5% down, which is $17,500. You're gonna put $17,500 down on this property. You're gonna move yourself and your family, or whoever it may be, into one unit. And with the other unit, you're going to rent it on Airbnb. What this is going to do is not only pay down your mortgage because you're gonna have somebody else renting out the property every single month, but it's gonna allow you to live for free, essentially, okay? And make profit on top of that. How does that work, and what do I mean by that? Well, let's just say that your mortgage, for example, was $2,500 per month on each side, or $3,000 a month. Can't do the math off the top of my head. Now, I'm not great at math, but let's just say for the sake of example that your mortgage was $4,000 a month total between both sides. Now, your share would be $2,000, and technically speaking, if you were renting out the property as a long-term rental, that would be a $2,000 a month or $2,200 a month place. But what you're gonna do is charge way more on Airbnb, rent out the property, and now, hopefully, if you've done the right research, pay off your mortgage every single month, that $4,000. You're going to make some money on top of that, hopefully, and it's going to allow you to live for free. So, a fantastic way to get started with an FHA loan hack. The next thing that we're gonna do is analyze home furniture costs and maintenance costs. It's important to understand what kind of operation you're getting yourself into and how much money is gonna be required from you on top of purchasing the property in order to get this thing ready to rent on Airbnb. So with furniture, as a rule of thumb, because I know that you guys love rules of thumb, and this is honestly what I use all the time. This is my hack to figuring out how much I'm gonna be spending on furniture in general, okay? If you're buying an apartment or a condo, starting with a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, you're gonna start at a base price of $4,500, okay? So expect to spend at least $4,500, somewhere in that ballpark, on your investment apartment or condo. Then every additional room after that is going to be $2,000, okay? So if you have a 3-bedroom condo, for example, or 3-bedroom apartment, expect to pay $4,500 for the base and another $2,000 for every room. So for example, if you were buying a 3-bedroom apartment or condo, then that would cost you about $8,500 to $9,000 you can expect to pay in furnishings. One of the things that I always encourage my students to do in the negotiation process is negotiate furniture if the furniture is good, okay? Because everything is negotiable. Many people are business people and they don't know what they want to do with stuff. They don't want to move things around. So if the furniture is good and you can use some of it, then negotiate that as a contingency as a part of the sale. Now, when you're buying a home, it's going to be a little bit different and more expensive. Keeping a base price at 1 bedroom is going to be $6,000, and every additional bedroom after that to furnish is going to be an extra $2,500, okay? So a 3-bedroom house would be $11,000 to furnish, essentially. Again, guys, this is all depending on where you're investing, or if it's a crazy nice house, is it on the beach, are you trying to go cheap with it? In general, this is my rule of thumb after doing this time and time again. And last but not least, for those of you guys that are buying luxury properties, very simple rule of thumb is use 3 times the monthly mortgage or the monthly rent, okay? So if your monthly mortgage is $10,000 a month, then expect to spend at least $30,000 to go in and furnish this property, okay? Something that is wildly overlooked is what are the highest ROI appliances or furniture or anything that you can add to a house to make more money. And in my experience, it has been hot tubs, cold plunges, saunas, and things of that nature. Yes, art, and yes, you know, cool decorations are great. I think that themed houses are trending in a downward direction, but people like to use amenities, right? These amenities that they can't get other places, or maybe that they have at their personal home. So if you can apply some of these, you know, spend $5,000 to $8,000 on a cold plunge or a hot tub, or, you know, like I said, a sauna, you will see a big return based on how much you're able to charge with your average daily rate. So you've made it this far in the video, and you're probably thinking the same thing that I used to think. Man, where am I going to come up with the money for this? This is going to cost a lot of money to buy my first property. If I'm not doing the FHA loan house hacking, then it's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars to buy a property, to furnish a property, and to get this operation going. I may not have that. Well, if you're one of the people that's saying that and you don't really know too much about Airbnb arbitrage, then do me a favor. You're going to see a link right here. You're going to see a link down below. I've made a full guide teaching you how to do Airbnb arbitrage. Now, without getting into too many details, Airbnb arbitrage is a very simple concept where we are renting properties from landlords and subleasing them on Airbnb with the landlord's written and legal agreement. The great thing about this is it requires just a little bit of startup capital, and you don't need good personal credit. So if that's you and you're one of the people that's listening but not ready to buy a property, then hit that link, check out that video, and let's dive a little deeper. Now, this is a very important part of the process that most people skip and very few people talk about: strategy. Okay, so there's only 2 things you should worry about. Is your strategy to buy a turnkey property, meaning, hey, when I buy this thing, I don't want to put much money into furniture. This thing should basically be ready to go the day that I purchase it, and the keys are in my hand. I should be able to rent it on Airbnb. You're going to pay a premium for that. On the other end of the token is the strategy to buy a house that needs some work, like a fixer-upper, there's win-wins in both situations. For somebody like me, where my life has been pretty crazy the last couple of years as I've been scaling my business, I've opted to go more of a turnkey route because I didn't want to have to go in and add a ton of value and a ton of crazy stuff to these properties just because of my time restrictions. So the three things you need to worry about here: how much time do you have? How much money do you have to invest? And what is your goal? The guideline that I would follow is this: if you have time, and if you have money, and if you have resources, then I would buy properties that need work done. Okay, these are called value add properties. Why would I do this? Very simple. Let's say that I bought a house for $300,000 in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath property, and it needs some work. Okay, it needs some work. It probably needs about $20,000, $30,000 of work. The shingles are ugly. We need to replace the whole kitchen looks like crap, right? We need to put some TLC into this bad boy. The strategy here is buying the property, spending a month or two fixing this, and then getting it ready to rent on Airbnb. Now what you have is a high cash flowing Airbnb property that you bought at a discount. You've added value to it, and over the course of the next couple of years, as property value begins to rise, you can do what's called a cash out refinance and pull your equity out of that property based on how much that property is worth now. Okay? So if you have the time, energy, and money and resources, then that's the way to go. If you don't, and you just want to be able to get this ball rolling and get operating ASAP Ferg, then you need to buy a turnkey property. Next is setting up your Airbnb listing. Now, I'm not gonna harp on and on about this. There's tons of long form videos about how to technically set up your Airbnb listing. Guys, it's a freaking cakewalk. Mom and dad can do it, grandma and grandpa can do it. The thing that people mess up, and hear me loud and clear when I say this, grab your pen, grab your paper. Imagine I have a brand right here and I'm putting it on your forehead. You need to have two things: professional photos and professional staging and decorating. If your property is not staged properly, then you are not going to have great photos. If you don't take great photos, you're not gonna have great photos. The only thing that matters on Airbnb, it's way less than the title and way less than damn near anything else, is going to be photos. You want to make your property photogenic. Make things in there that are unique. Add some sauce, add some flair, add some colors. Make this thing pop. Take a drone shot at dusk and make sure that that bad boy is lit up on the inside and it looks like the best damn cabin in the forest. The reason why I say this is they've done studies showing that the only thing that, they can track people's eyes now. I don't know exactly how they do it, if they're putting Google glasses or goggles on these mofos, but what they're doing is tracking their eyes, and they say, hey, look, what are these people looking at? And every single time it's the first photo. Then when they click the link to your Airbnb, now is when we can get into the nitty gritty, okay? So your first 4 or 5 pictures that are gonna pop up, that's your grid, and those are gonna be very, very important as well. So make sure that both the title of your Airbnb listing and the pictures in your Airbnb listing show exactly what your best amenities and best features are. You don't have to show the front of the house as the first picture. You can show the best amenity. If you have some crazy pool but the house is ugly, damn it, put the pool on there and not the ugly house in front. You feel me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Now, when it comes to writing a description, I wish I had this a year ago, but I didn't. I've had to do it myself. Descriptions can be tricky. Not anymore with ChatGPT. Now, go watch a YouTube tutorial on how to use ChatGPT. It should be very, very simple, but essentially what you're gonna do is ask ChatGPT a prompt that says, hey, I have a home that is a badass cabin in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It has 4 beds, it has 3 baths, it has a beautiful pool and some of the best views around. Write me an Airbnb description that is X long, that is 3 paragraphs long, and it will write a beautiful, beautiful Airbnb description for you. Bada boom, bada bing, you, my friend, now have a banging Airbnb listing. Now, as we transition over to learning how to automate our Airbnb business, you wanna know what everybody gets wrong with this Airbnb business? They wanna do everything themselves, they wanna manage it themselves, they want to communicate themselves, they want to clean themselves. Folks, it is 2023. This is a business model that can be fully optimized, fully damn near automated, and it can be extremely passive if you put the right people in place. I know what you're saying. How can Airbnb investing be passive? Well, let me give you an example. I currently am operating 10 Airbnb properties, making me over $2 million per year. But I probably spend 15 to 20 minutes of my time running the business week to week. And what is my time spent doing? It's spent finding properties to buy and finding properties to arbitrage. How am I able to do this? Well, it didn't start like this. I started with my first property. I flew out to it. I did everything hands-on. I met people. I was meeting my cleaners, building a team, and really establishing myself. And then I was responding to guests and doing all this by myself, and that's expected, okay? You can mix in the girlfriend, you can mix in the mom or the wife or the husband or the brother to help you out, which is great. But what you're gonna do from here is, as you continue to grow your business, you're gonna see that you're easily able to automate this business using hardware, software, and other people. So here's a list of the hardware, software, and other people that I've used in my business to fully automate it. When it comes to software, I use a property management software, and I've used many. I've used Guesty, I've used Hostfully. They're all damn near the same thing. Between the two of them, they're pretty similar. I like using Hostfully, but this is going to allow you to basically have all of your operations in one place. Whatever property management software you decide to use, understand that its job is to make your life more simple. It's to condense all these different places and different actions that you have to do into one place so that you can easily manage everything from one place. The other software that's going to be most important for you to use is called pricelabs.co. Okay, so pricelabs.co, you can see right here, I'm going to post a screenshot of what one of my properties looks like on PriceLabs. Essentially, PriceLabs is a dynamic pricing software, and what this is going to do is it's going to determine the best rates that you can charge every single night using AI. How is it able to do this? It uses supply and demand and understanding what is available in the same area for similar properties. You give the software boundaries as to how low you want to charge and how high you want to charge, and every single day it is changing it all the time and updating the prices so that you have the best prices and you're able to maximize the amount of money that you're able to make with Airbnb. Pro tip, do not use Airbnb's smart pricing tool. It is so shitty, you will lose so much money. I've seen so many of my students go against this teaching and lose money and then ask me what the hell the problem is. Hey, don't come crying at me. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink it. Okay, when it comes to hardwares, very simple. You want to have something that's protecting your guests from the outside and protecting your home from the outside as well. That's going to be your Ring doorbell or your Google Nest. Either one works. It's for the protection and privacy of your guest, and you want to make sure that people are exactly who they say they are. You don't want somebody booking your one-bedroom house that said there's 2 of them showing up and 40 dudes named Eric walk in and they trash the place, okay? The other thing that's allowed me to automate my business and travel the world, just, operating this from my phone, is smart locks. Now, I encourage you to check out the market for them. I tell people that, what I use is the Schlage encode. I think that's how you say it, Schlage, Schlooge, whatever. The Schlage encode, it has Wi-Fi capabilities. It's able to communicate with your phone. You're able to change everything from the comfort of your phone. So this makes it very easy, and you don't have to be on site to drop off keys and exchange keys, or hell, lose any keys. And last but not least, for hardware, we have the Minute Noise Monitor. I hope that's how you say it. I've been saying it like that for 2-3 years now. You plug this thing in, and it is going to monitor the decibel levels in your house. What does that mean? Basically, it's the party pooper. If it hears people partying and it's too loud in the house, it's going to send an alert to your phone and an automated message telling the guest, hey guys, please tone it down, otherwise we're gonna have to take action, one more warning, and you're kicked out. Okay, so yes, I understand. I don't wanna be that guy. I've been to Airbnbs, I've partied in 1,000 Airbnbs. It is what it is, but some people are disrespectful to your properties and don't listen, and so if they throw something that's an absolute rager and you have old people next door and police are coming and all that stuff, this can be easily prevented using the noise monitor. Now, the bread and butter of this business and how you're really able to operate this without property managers and without being on site is going to be your cleaners and your handymen. I've found all of my cleaners on 2 websites, care.com and turno.com, which is formerly turnoverbnb.com. These websites are great. You interview these people and ask them, hey, look, have you ever had experience with short-term rentals? They say yes. You build some rapport. You interview them. Very simple concept. Find these folks that are rock stars, pay them well, okay, pay them well, and then through them, typically I ask, hey, if I'm in a new city, do you know any handymen? And many times it's been like a brother or a husband or a wife or, whoever it is that is related to them, and they will hook me up with the handyman. Another pro tip, I charge my handyman $75 anytime that they're on call and have to go out to the property. So if there's a party they have to go break up, $75 call. If there's a little plumbing issue, $75. You get it? It's just cash business. Send them a Venmo, send them a Zelle, whatever it is, and that's going to save you so much time, energy, and money and allow you to run your business from anywhere in the world. All right, so you've made it this far in the video. It's time for you to rock and roll, but before you do that, let's talk about the time and energy commitment that's going to take to set up your Airbnb. Now, with my first couple of properties before I had a team built out. Now, when I say team, I really mean I've hired my family. And they handle a lot of these tasks now. I hired my mom to be my property manager. I hired my dad to be the helping hand and go help with setting up the property so that I'm able to continue to do things like this where I don't have to be setting up properties, because I'll be honest with you, I don't enjoy setting up properties. I don't have the eye for it. I don't have the touch for it. I'm not too savvy with my hands, but I can talk on a camera, right? So it's important that you have a checklist before you get started of everything that you have to do, every punch hole, every task that needs to be done. You also want to have a checklist of your furniture list and make sure that you are organized enough to figure out how long stuff is going to take to ship, so that if it's going to that house, or if it's going to a storage locker, if it's going to out of state, then it all arrives there when you arrive as well. With smaller homes, apartments, and condos, I recommend that you give yourself 6 to 7 days to set up a property. Very few times have I seen it done, especially with your first property, setting up, if it's a completely blank slate, in less than 6 to 7 days. And with bigger properties, like more luxurious, at least give yourself 14 to 21 days to set up a property. Nowadays, it takes my team about 14 to 15 days on average on a luxury property, so use that as a baseline. Once you're there setting up the property, whether it's you by yourself, I recommend, especially early on, asking your family to help out, asking friends to help out. Phone a friend, say, hey, look, I'll give you $100, even if they don't want to accept it. I'll give you $100, please help me do this stuff. And on top of that, you want to hire task rabbits. You don't need to install the TVs. You don't need to install the monitors. You don't need to install the Ring doorbells. There's people that will do this for literally dirt cheap, and it's going to save you time, energy, and money. It's all about optimizing and doing the tasks that are going to make you the most amount of money. So hire task rabbits or people that are, like that, and have them keep coming out for the next couple of days. They'll do all the unboxings. Hell, use living spaces. Living spaces is great because if you purchase over a certain amount of furniture, they will come out and deliver the furniture built for you. Another thing, guys, girls, whoever's watching this, if you're not great at interior design, me, no bueno, not good, and you need some ideas, use Pinterest. I didn't really know too much about Pinterest. I thought it was an app where girls looked at fashion stuff, and honestly, they have some of the best ideas and best concepts and best designs for your properties. Sometimes they have really good ideas of how you can decorate a property and make it look amazing for dirt cheap. So Pinterest, set up a board on Pinterest and use that to help design your property. Now, at the end of the day, all you have to do is make sure that that property is set up and staged the way that you like it. I like to be on the ground or have somebody on the ground with a professional photographer so that we know, at least even if it's the realtor, so that they can give you a little FaceTime video, let you know how things are set up before the photography is done, because you only want to do that photography one time, knock it out of the park, and you, my friend, now have your first Airbnb listing and the tools to scale this business as well. If you've made it this far, congratulations. It's been an honor to spend this last 20 or so minutes with you going over step by step how you can get your first Airbnb, because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of bullshit out there, there's a lot of fluff, and this is no fluff from somebody who has actually done this time and time again. If you're new to Airbnb, you loved this video and you want to see more of this, hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of other tutorials on my page that you can check out and learn from the Airbnb GOAT. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.